Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we have a custom mechanical keyboard build, a 60% build under $100. We're gonna have to go back in time to back when this kit was incomplete, and talk about it. Alright, so what is in the kit? This kit was about 50 bucks. The keycaps were about 25 in a bag right now, and the switches was about $17-18. However, because of all the supplies that went into a build like this, I would say the total price of switch opener, lube, dielectric grease, brushes, all those things probably added up to about $150. But the bill was $100, and those supplies are gonna last you a long time after. So what's in the kit? In the kit, you have this little manual that tells you how to install and take apart the split spacebar, what inserting a switch into a hot swappable board is like, and how to do it correctly. You also have this other manual on the secondary functions of everything in the board and where you can download the software to remap your keys, do RGB lighting, all those things. And you get your split spacebar module. It's easy to screw in. You just unscrew the one that's in the board right now and then screw this one in. I don't like using these because it puts my thumbs in a weird position. You also get the braided black USB-C cable. If you don't have one already, I'm glad the kit comes with one, because a lot of custom mechanical keyboard kits do not come with a USB-C cable, no matter how ridiculous that sounds. You also get a metal switch puller and a plastic keycap puller. Ditch the plastic keycap puller, get yourself a nice wire one so you're not gonna hurt your keycap. So that's pretty much it for what's in the kit. It was about $50, but you can find other kits of various costs and prices and everything. I opted for some pretty budget Gateron yellow switches. You can budget for something nicer like Glorious Pandas, like Novelty Creams, Gat Ink Blacks, anything you want, but that is going to ramp up the price of your build quite a bit. And then of course you have keycaps. I bought a cheap set from Amazon. It is the YMDK double shot something rainbow. Everything will be linked down below to all the parts that I used in this exact build, so you're not gonna have to dig around and be like, oh, what you use here, I don't know. But that was like $25. Switches were $17, kit was $50, total is about $92, and it looks pretty decent. I think the first thing we should do is the sound test, and then we'll talk about everything that happened before said sound test to get the build to sound like this. Sound test, go. Alright, cool. That sounded pretty decent, right? Honestly, I'm surprised it ended as good as it did. So we'll look at the case first and what exactly the kit entails. We got a plastic black case, nothing special. USB-C cable here at the top left, 4 rubber feet here, no kickstands. Typing angle, pretty decent. It is a little bit high. I'm gonna recommend you know, when you buy this kit, go grab a wrist rest with it. Better it be wooden, plastic, cushion, custom, whatever you want. Grab a wrist rest. You'll thank me in the future. It's got 5-pin hot swappable sockets, very easy to use. Just buy any switch and it'll probably fit in here, no problem. All right, let's build the kit. So it looks pretty boring when you first look at it. It's black, there's nothing happening. I did build this without any mods, no shelf liner, no modded stabilizers, no lube switches, and guess what? It was a disaster. It was bad. It was really bad. Just don't do that. It was bad. So we're gonna mod it instead. First, we need to unscrew all of the screws pretty much on the plate and PCB connecting it to the case, because we need access to the case just by itself. So get your nice screwdriver kit. I have an iFixit one linked down below. Unscrew everything, the silver screws, the black screws, all the screws, and keep it somewhere safe so that you don't lose them, because we're gonna have to put them back in, obviously. Now take off the plate, take off the PCB, put that somewhere safe for a little bit. We're gonna put that back in real soon. Get your sound dampening material. I went with shelf liner because it's so cheap and affordable. A roll is like $7, and a whole roll covers like, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 keyboards, a bunch, just so many. But the case, it's so echoey, it's so plastic, there's so many holes there. So instead of the one layer of shelf liner that I was initially gonna put into it, I had to do two. It was tedious, had to cut little squares to fill in all the special holes, but you know what, we got it done. So now we can put our PCB and our plate back on, put all the screws back on. If you put a black screw in the wrong hole, it's not gonna fit, so unscrew it, put it into another hole, just screw it all down. It'll be okay. You'll be okay. We'll be okay. Now we have to mod our stabilizers. Really important bit. I use like dielectric grease because I'm a cheapo like that. So they are plate mounted cherry style stabilizers. They're super easy to take out. Just use some tweezers, push it on a little pin, use your fingers to pull it out, and do that to all of them. I even did it to the spacebar module because I never know when I'm gonna want to use it, and when I do use it, I don't want to have to mod it, so I modded everything. Get your flush cutters. You can use flush cutters or nail clippers. I've used nail clippers before, and it's just not as good as flush cutters. Flush cutters are like $6, $7, whatever, and you're gonna be able to use them again in the long run, so I got a pair of those, and they just have a nice crispier bottom than they do with the nail clippers that are like concave or convex or whatever. This is just better. So clip the legs, and if you are interested in a guide on how to mod your stabilizers, we do have one on our website linked down below. It's super helpful, a lot of good pictures there, a lot of good stuff, so check that out if you need any help. I don't band-aid mod, I don't like the way that sounds, but I lube a lot on the wire. So now we're gonna lube the housings. I use very little grease for that, because if you use too much grease, then it's gonna be really sluggish and slow and nasty feeling. But for the wire, I use a lot, and that way there's no place for the wire to rattle and move around and make additional sounds. So that's my way of doing it. I'm sure other people have their own personal better ways, but whatever. We're gonna put everything back in. Now that our stabs are modded, we're ready to put in our switches. So switches, you can lube them if you want. I do, because I like the way it sounds. If you don't want to lube your switches, at least lube the springs in your switches, because then you're gonna get rid of the spring ping, which is like, ugh, spring ping's just the worst, ain't it? So lube switches, put into your keyboard. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. I first checked my stabilizers to see if they were like okay, if they need any help, maybe they were stuck or something, but they were fine. So I put all the switches in. Now before we put keycaps in, you want to go to switch hitter or a key tester and test all of your switches to see that they're working. You don't want to put on your keycaps and then be like, oh no, U isn't working or something. So test all your switches first and then put the keycaps on, and then that's it. That's pretty much the build. That's like the entire build. If you need more help putting a custom keyboard together, we have a full in-depth guide on that also down below, and it tells you exactly when you should test your PCB, test your switches, test everything. There are a lot of testing here. For $99 $ish, you get the nice opportunity of putting more work into your board. Things like sound dampening material, things like modding stabilizers, things like lubing switches. Pretty convenient, pretty easy to do. It's a great entryway into the mechanical keyboard hobby, but for this price, I am impressed with how sort of good it came out. But to be honest, I would have just went and bought like the Acco 3068 or the Ducky Mia Pro or something like that instead for about the same money. This was a lot of effort. I probably put in at least 3 hours doing all this stuff, and like I already have a lot of the materials. You might not have the materials, so that's gonna be a little bit out of your pocket before you get something that sounds pretty decent. The kit itself with no mods, no anything, is just not good. So building something like this is a really good entryway into figuring out whether you want to build a custom keyboard or not, whether you want to dive deeper into the hobby or not. And if not, then you didn't put in that much money. And if you do like it, well, then you got valuable experience of doing all these things that you can now generalize onto a more expensive build without worrying about messing up some of your parts. So either way, it's a win-win and it's good experience. It was fun. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I know this was sort of a weird one. It's my first time using this whole audio stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Links are all down below if you want to do exactly what I did. It's all down below. Guides, website down below as well. Goodbye.